gameplay of Popp, my new game for Commodore Plus 4. You shoot bubbles which pop when 3 or more of the same color connects. There are 2 more things I'd like to show real quick. If you do nothing, eventually there's a countdown and the bubbles will automatically launch, so you can't take forever. The game ends when a bubble lands or gets pushed below the line. You get a game over message, and if you made the best 5, you can enter your initials. So why was this game developed? It started with a mock-up from Kitschy, which I thought looked great, and I really enjoyed playing the original version, so I thought it would be cool to make this game for the Plus 4. There are 2 very important pieces to nail down for this game. One is how the bubbles will be displayed. This is the very first development snapshot I saved. It has the foundation of displaying bubbles. There's a function which I can call with 3 parameters, X and Y position and the index of the bubble to be drawn. That is what you can see here. The game is running in multicolor graphics mode. We can use 2 global colors, which are the black and the white, and within one character we can have 2 unique per character colors. The first row of bubbles uses multicolor 1 only. The second row overlaps by 2 pixels and it uses multicolor 2 only. The entire board is displayed like this. The odd rows are drawn with color 1 and the even rows are drawn with color 2. So this way there's no color clash. But the restriction is we can only have 3 colors for the graphics of each bubble. Black and white, obviously, which are global, plus the bubble's own color. So I ran this by Kitschy, and he drew them for me. So that's what you can see here. I thought this looked great, so I was happy to go down this road. Next, I developed a code that removes the section of the bubbles that have the same color. This is a recursive algorithm. After that, I wrote the code that looks for bubbles that are no longer connected to anything, since those will pop. That code is also recursive. At this point, for testing, I made a small game which is technically fully playable, but it has nothing to do with the final result. Regardless, you can see that landing the bubble works and removing the connected colors also work. With all this out of the way, I needed to code the second important part, which is allowing the bubble to move at any angle. At the heart of this is a table that I calculated where the steps are 16-bit numbers and the high byte corresponds to 1 pixel. I wrote a small test for it where I moved a pixel using those steps, which is effectively a very inefficient line drawing algorithm, but it proves that this approach will work. Next, I wrote the sprite handling, which moves a bubble along those lines, and once again, this proof of concept shows that I'm on the right track. From here on, there were still a lot of things to do. Make the ceiling move down for one. This turned out to be quite challenging because of how the coordinates changed once the ceiling moved down, but it got done. Levels needed to be transcribed, scoring needed to be added, music as well, plus a million of other small details. Another interesting challenge was the aiming line. Since this is very CPU intensive, it could only be drawn asynchronously, so it's drawn across several frames. The end result looks pretty good. The aiming line normally shows only on the first level, but it can be turned on by using practice mode. Once everything was ready, I made a version which I called Release Candidate or RC1, and I sent it to some friends for testing. There were issues though. So then came RC2, then RC3, then RC4, then 5, then 6, and finally RC7 was the version that had all the bugs ironed out. I'd like to say some thanks, first of all to Kitschy. He's very talented and I love working with him. Also thanks to BS, Kronos, Gaia, Murphy, Rachi, Sukopera, TCFS, Unreal for testing. A huge thanks goes to Luca, he's always the most enthusiastic tester. And last but not least to Shiz. He's the one who gave me the information on how to query the paddle. That's something that I haven't mentioned yet. The game can be controlled either from keyboard or from either joystick port or from the SNS controller or from paddle. The paddle is particularly well suited for this game. Here he is playing the game on a real PAL Commodore 16 expanded to 64K with a SID card and a paddle plugged in.